I am Grommet's Leathercraft.
Yeah.
Let's do this. We're going to be answering all of your hard-hitting Leathercraft questions, like what does Rigo smell like? Zoe wants to know what got all of you into leatherworking. I went to the Renaissance Fair here in Southern California and I saw some stuff that I really wanted, but I didn't have the money for it. So I tried to make it myself and I failed. So I tried again and then I kept trying and here I am.
So for me, Rigo and I got into leatherworking because Rigo wanted to make Witcher armor. And then I followed suit when he got hired here.
Oh, Alexa wants to know, how are the workshop lizards doing? Matt? How are the lizards doing?
The first one is doing fantastic.
The first one's doing great. I saw him earlier. And he was zipping around. He's actually in the cage.
The second one didn't make it.
Jay wants to know, who's most likely to be in LOTR if they had the chance?
Everyone.
Yeah, pretty much all of us. I have a Lord of the Rings tattoo, so I'm a fan. What is the most difficult or time-consuming thing you guys make?
Mostly things with like wet molding takes a while. You just gotta wait.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't take a long time to make it, but you do have to kind of set it and let it do its thing for a little while.
And anything hand-stitched.
Hand stitching takes a long time.
Hand stitching takes a long time.
Have you guys ever made a scythe?
We do leatherworking.
Yeah, I could make you a leather scythe. Wouldn't work very well, but make it happen. It's cosplay. It's probably a con-safe scythe.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Do you need to go to a convention with a scythe? Pastel Zanda says, what is each artist's favorite thing to make?
Just doing something I haven't made in a while. It's like mixing it up.
Yeah.
After you've made your like 800th Hidden Canyon Hunter Kydex sheath, you're just like, just give me something new.
Yeah, I like trying new stuff.
Yeah.
Griffinfinity says, how much does the cow weigh once you've taken the leather? I'm gonna let you handle this one.
Less.
The blue guy says, how are you? Good.
I'm alright.
Willow Nightshade says, favorite LOTR cosplay piece you've made this far? I'm the one that does most of that.
Yeah.
So, the Boromir scabbard, that's a really good one.
Cool.
I'm gonna go on a tangent here.
Good.
There's an implication when you say like cosplay piece of kind of like a level of quality. You know what I mean? So like calling the things we make cosplay pieces, I feel isn't accurate.
But they're...
I mean, they are. Like they're replicas of things. They are costume pieces, but like I feel like cosplay to me, I always think like Warbler and foam and things like that. I always think like costume pieces. Whereas we make fully functional stuff. Like the Boromir scabbard was a wood core scabbard for a steel sword. Our Strider jerkins are leather and steel. You know, we make clothing that happens to look exactly like the stuff from the Lord of the Rings, which
maybe replica is a better word.
Replica is a good one. And I mean, you know, they're costume pieces, but they're also clothing.
I think there's just two main lanes of cosplay, and it's, you know, there's the practical aspect, which we like to delve into, but it's massively overshadowed by what's easier to wear when you're at a convention for 10 hours of the day. And so EVGA foam and stuff like that is a lot lighter and less cumbersome, but it's not actually something that you can bring into a battle with you, and you can bring our stuff into battle with you.
Yeah, that's what we go for. Also, to answer the question in sincerity, I just made Strider's duster a couple days ago and it turned out really good. So what's the best way to get into Leathercraft as a complete beginner?
Start, just make a belt or something.
Go for it.
Fail. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, you're gonna make a lot of really ugly stuff, and then you're gonna make some slightly less ugly stuff, and then you're gonna make some even less ugly stuff, and then eventually you're gonna make something that looks pretty good.
YouTube and Google is your friend.
Everybody always asks like, what tools do I need? Like, not being something sharp to cut with is important, but I mean,
we use box cutters.
We use box cutters, and you know, we have a lot of crazy tools in here that you really don't need as a beginner. Yeah, just, you know, find something you want to make and make it. That's how you get started. Carlos wants to know, what's your favorite part of crafting?
I think for me, oftentimes there's two phases I really enjoy: the planning phase and the finished product. Because once you're in the hell of it, oftentimes you'll go through multiple revisions and you'll end up just getting caught in that loop. But at the beginning, when you're getting all your creative juices out and you're having all these great ideas, that's when things are super energetic. And at the end, once you have the piece, there's just like a level of satisfaction that remains for at least a few days while you tell everybody about it.
I like the end part after you've made something cool. And occasionally it's the end part after you've made several not cool things, and then finally you finish making the cool thing that you originally envisioned, and you're like, yes, perfect.
Then it sits in your closet.
And then you put it in your trunk, and you look at it a few years later and like, remember when I made that cool thing? What's the most difficult product to learn how to make and why?
Sleeves.
Sleeves are
a pain.
surprisingly difficult.
Anything body fitting is pretty rough.
Yeah, anything kind of three-dimensional is kind of
Yeah,
difficult.
like a helmet.
Yeah, helmets are tough. Honestly, I did a yoke. Is literally just a piece of fabric or leather that just kind of sits flat against the chest and the back and goes over the shoulders. You make the shape that you think that's supposed to be, and then you sit it on you, and that's not at all what it's supposed to be. So you adjust it, and then it turns out being this weird thing. You're like, that didn't even, never would have considered that to be the shape that it needed to be.
Yeah.
But it needs to like curve in space and kind of fold down over the shoulders a little bit more, and it's just weird. So.
Yeah, 3D things have to like be held to your body, and you have to figure out how the human body works in accordance to that, and it's rough.
Yeah, some of our customers live on the other side of the world, and we have to work off of like their chest measurements, and it's hard to make something that fits perfectly when
you don't have the person.
Do the suspenders work for women's pants? Men's pockets are different, so belt loops could be too.
We have multiple attachment types for your suspenders. We have spring clips, we have just the belt loop option as well, so you can feed a belt through it. So if you can wear a belt with your pants, then you can wear our suspenders.
Like if you have loops on your pants, then our suspenders will most likely work for you. We also do custom work, so if you need some that are weird, then hit us up.
And I just noticed the other day we've got those little alligator clips, and so we could figure something out with that too if you don't have belt loops.
Yeah, you can clip them straight onto your pants.
Yep.
I don't particularly care for those. They kind of fail over time. They're kind of like zippers. I don't really like zippers because zippers just eventually break. Even regardless of how good of a zipper you get, they eventually just don't work anymore. I don't like building something into something that I know isn't going to work eventually. Chrissy wants to know, when will you stream lessons on crafting?
Probably not, but we'll figure something out.
Probably never. I don't know if streaming is the best format for teaching lessons on things. You get a little bit more kind of immediate feedback from people then, but...
We're still considering classes?
Yeah.
It's kind of rough right now.
We got time. We're a little busy at the moment.
We're busy.
Maybe beginning of the year we'll look into that. They don't have to be like a spring thing.
That's a big maybe.
When are we not busy? This is kind of the lead up to the busy season, like beginning of September is when we start getting a lot of Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
And people like the early buyers start getting stuff for like Christmas and stuff, but also hunting season starts in like November, so like sheaths and stuff, we get a lot of orders for those. And like I'm slammed right now because I got a bunch of like cloaks and clothing type stuff.
Yeah.
Ben wants to know, what's the most difficult leather to work with?
I have trouble with deerskin sometimes because it's super stretchy, and if you're trying to sew it, sometimes you gotta like pull them at the same tautness, because if something's pulled taut and the other thing isn't, then it'll scrunch up in that spot afterwards, and it's kind of...
Soft leathers, deerskin is kind of a pain for all the reasons you just said. Things like bison can be kind of a pain sometimes, particularly like if you're trying to finish the edges. They don't really like to be finished.
But they're also some of the coolest leathers we have.
They are.
Oh, and then armpit leather.
Armpit leather. So
armpit leather, man.
So when you have a cow, you get we get sides of leather. So you get essentially...
Picture me as the cow.
Yeah, you get half of a cow. So you get a split down the middle and the back, and then you get the what's called belly leather. And usually, like starting at the middle of the back and working your way towards the belly is, you know, the levels of goodness. So when we make belts, we make it all from right down the center of the back, because that's going to be the strongest leather. It's going to have the tightest grain. It's going to work the best. And the belly leather is usually pretty soft and not great. So when you start to work your way towards kind of the end of the hide, essentially, sort of the belly, you get this really kind of soft and spongy leather, which doesn't work great for anything really. So usually we get like the last like 6 inches to a foot or so on the hide is just kind of garbage. So we throw it away, and it's not great. We throw it in a scrap box. The last question is, what music do you guys listen to get ready for crafting? And the answer to that is Holding Out for a Hero, all day, every day. It's a banger. I'll fuck with the Jennifer Saunders version.
Sure. I've been listening to various types of metal recently.
Have you ever heard a metal cover of Holding Out for a Hero?
Really coming back to that.
I don't know any other songs. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments, or send us an email, or just scream at us outside. Whatever. We'll answer your questions.
Grabbing homeless people and grafting leather onto their bodies. We're making them armored.